interrupt this broadcast.
10, 9,
Welcome to episode 11 of Six Things. It's our special election recap, and we've got two more WECTers here to help join with me. We've all been doing the election coverage all week. Well, now we're going to do a couple of stories that maybe some folks missed throughout the election. Not necessarily political, but enough to talk about. Let's get to some introductions. My first guest, Sanah Sayani. You may recognize her as a reporter here at WECT. And also Jim Van Dillen, who is our IT specialist here. He's the one I always come to when my computer is broken. And I complain.
A lot.
Fix it. I do complain a lot. All right, let's start with our number 6 thing for today. A woman that was going to vote in Boca Raton, Florida, she was wearing this shirt. Well, the election workers there said you cannot go in and vote because you are wearing a Mitt Romney shirt. You are campaigning for Mitt Romney. Well, of course, most of you figured it out. This is MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Maybe the other T was like invisible or something.
I'm going to pass on that one. There's a joke in there.
What city was she in?
This was as West Boca Raton, Palm Beach County. By the way, Palm Beach County, isn't that the one that they had all the problems
I think it is.
in 2000 where they had all the votes and what was that lady that they made fun of on Saturday Night Live from Palm Beach County? Oh, I'm going to have to remember her name, look her up.
I think, I don't know, I didn't even know this was a thing, to be honest. If you're just a person going to vote, I guess you have to turn your shirt inside out. If you have like a Mitt Romney or Obama t-shirt on, you're going to have to not
You're not
wear
allowed
it.
to campaign a certain
I mean, it makes sense,
away.
but I just never knew that.
Well, yeah, you can't. It says campaigning is not permitted within several yards of the polling place.
Yeah.
So there you go. I guess they have to look for that kind of stuff.
These are the people that count our votes at the end of the day. That's all I'm going to say.
And is Florida even, are they done counting by the
They're
time
done
we're
now.
taping? They're done now?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
As of this
I saw it
taping.
Where did it go?
Florida.
Who did it go to?
I guess it went to Obama.
It did,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next thing here. Number 5 for this week. I found this very interesting. I'm from South Carolina, so I knew this, but several folks in our newsroom did not know this. In Kentucky and South Carolina, you cannot purchase alcohol. It's just like a Sunday. You know how you can't purchase alcohol on a Sunday. There were also 5 other states that had similar laws since 2008. Indiana, Delaware, Utah, Idaho, and West Virginia, but they have since gotten rid of those laws. So they don't want you to...
That's silly.
I think it's smart. Do you want people who are, tipsy, a little, not right in the head, going out and actually voting?
Well, that's the argument.
Yeah, but
for.
it seems kind of like very Big Brother-ish. Like, why? I mean, am I not free to do what I want? I mean, I can vote who I want for. Why can't I have a beer before I go
Well,
vote?
48 states say that you can. North Carolina is one of those.
I missed you. Is it the entire day, or is it just up until polls close? Because afterwards, I'm pretty sure those
Maybe they
that
smell it on
lost
you or
need
something.
a little bit
It's
of
just election day, so I don't know. I assume it's kind of like Sunday, where it's
So
up
the
until
whole day.
probably up until like 2
That's
a.m.
messed
So that stinks. Because
Yeah.
if you lost and you want a beer, you better.
Yeah, you either want to celebrate or you
Console.
want to console yourself and your
Yeah.
fellow voters. Yeah, it says the bars and stores lose $4.5 million in revenue
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that was
each
gonna be the
year.
other thing. That's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah, so think about if you're a bar owner. I mean, I know it's a Tuesday. Election day is always on a Tuesday.
In those same states, you
still.
can't drink on. On Sunday you can't buy beer as well. Or alcohol?
Yes, South Carolina, I know it prohibits the sale of alcohol on Sundays and election days.
I will never move there.
I lived there for 21 years of my life, so I'm very familiar with all of their rules.
a lot.
Now, this one was pretty interesting. I thought this was very cool. Now, in New Hampshire, they have elected the first all-women delegation in their Senate, their House, and their governors.
Wow.
Now, they have their Senate people are on the left here. They're senators. That's Jean Shaheen and Kelly Ayotte, one Democrat, one Republican. They have 2 new House of Representatives ladies here, Carol Shea Porter and Ann McLuster Custer. Both of those are Democrats. And they also have a newly elected woman governor. There she is, Maggie Hassan. So it is the first time in the history of the U.S. that they have had all women for the governor and for the Senate and for the House.
That speaks a lot, I think. just the way where our country is headed, in a sense. And this is more of a serious one than the others that we
Yeah,
discussed.
this is probably the
But-
most political of all
Yeah,
the ones we had
but
today.
I think it speaks a lot as a woman. I mean, I believe in 2016, if not after that, we will definitely at some point in the near future see a woman president.
Do you think Hillary's going to run in 2016?
I think so.
I think so,
don't
too.
know if it's going to, I think it all depends on how these 4 years
Yeah.
go, if Democrats, Republicans are going to come, you know, what's going to happen in the country. But I think Hillary's going to run for sure.
Well, they call it the year of the woman. This election was the year of the woman because they now have 19, at least 19 senators, and it may have changed since, as of this taping, in the Senate, which is the highest amount that they've ever had. So now those senators that you saw, I'm going to go back and post them up again. Again, the two ladies on the left are the senators. The two ladies on the right are the House of Representatives. They were actually not elected. They were, no, excuse me, the House of Representatives were elected. The senators were incumbents. They were not up for re-election this time around.
What do you think, Jim?
I think it's great, man. I mean, we men make too many decisions about women's rights and how women's supposed to feel anyway. It's nice to actually have some women represented.
Well, what's interesting is the electorate was what, 51, 49 or something,
Yeah.
51% women, yet we only have 1/5 of the senators women.
And I think this year was also, I think I read somewhere that this year was the most that women have been elected ever. So-
Yes, and it was, I mean, if you look at the demographics, they went overwhelmingly for women because I think this year it was kind of up on the ballot. I mean, it was just the women came out to vote.
I think
this
it's
year.
good. I think we're headed in the right direction. This country needs women.
I won't argue with that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, number 3 here. Now we're getting into some fun stuff. All right, if you watch the victory speech from Obama, everyone was talking about what has been dubbed the hair flag lady. You see her on the right side of the screen, on Obama's left shoulder there. She had a flag in her head. To me, she looked like Oprah Winfrey.
She did. I thought she did too. I stayed up and watched this. I mean, I watched Romney's first, and then I watched Obama come on pretty late. I think it was like 1 o'clock.
It was
in the
very
morning.
late, yeah.
And I noticed her head, and I was like, okay, she's having fun. But there's two things. If you actually go back and watch that, she actually yawns. I know she yawns at least once. She
Does she
I
really?
think she does twice. Which, I thought she was having a good time, and then she gets tired later. I mean, I may be wrong, but I could have swore she yawned like once or twice. It was kind of funny.
Well, maybe
Here's my thing. It's late in the night.
Yes.
We're all watching it, having someone talk. It's our president. I get it. But little things like that distract you when you're yawning yourself, and you're like, okay, now I know who the president is. He's a few minutes into his speech, and now I'm just watching everything else on the screen.
Well, it was like a huge Twitter thing. Like Twitter went crazy over hashtag hair flag lady, hashtag flaghead. They called her all kinds of things on Twitter. I don't even think they know who she is at this point. But there were the two things. Again, one, she's got this flag in her head, and that was very distracting. But then two, literally half the speech, I'm watching this going, is that
Oprah? Yeah, I
Is
thought
that
it was
Oprah?
too. I know.
Is that Oprah back there? Anyway, I just thought it was pretty interesting that hair flag lady. We'll find out at some point. And of course, the memes have gone crazy with hair flag lady. All right, let's move on to number 2. Anybody that watched Sasha and Malia come out on stage just before Obama's victory speech, the first thing I noticed, I said, wow, look at how tall Malia is. I mean, she was as tall as Michelle Obama. This is a comparative picture from earlier in the 2008 campaign of Sasha and Malia, and now how they look today. I think this was as of the victory speech from Tuesday night. Ryan Seacrest asked Obama in a recent interview about, who's going to be the first guy to ask out Malia, because she's 14. Sasha is 11, Malia is 14. And by the end of his term, she'll be in college. She'll be a freshman in college.
Wow. Well, they do. I mean, girls typically get taller a lot faster.
Yeah.
And your early teens are when you just shoot up. And so Malia's a beautiful looking girl.
I think
she looks a lot like Michelle.
The first guy that asked one of these out has a lot of guts.
Well, that's what Ryan
and
Seacrest said.
That's
yeah.
a lot. I mean, not saying that they're not worth it, but that's a lot of work.
You got to be to ask
I mean, you're
out
going to
the
be dating.
presidents.
You're going to probably be dating him more than her at that point.
I don't know. I think though, if I were, going to ask out one of the daughters, it'd be kind of cool. You're asking out the president's daughter, and he's
President
he's
Obama's
kind of a cool guy.
Right.
Yeah,
He's a cool
so-
guy. I think he'll just be like, let's play basketball, and then we can decide. Whether
Right,
we
there you
can
go.
or
And
not.
yeah.
He's that type of a guy.
I don't think you're going to beat Obama in basketball.
I don't think you want to beat the president.
No,
at
well, you
anything.
mentioned the girls, how they shoot up faster. This was a big deal in school, in middle school especially, for a lot of guys. I was a very short kid growing up, and the girls always, all the girls were super tall, and the guys kind of lag behind that. and it's a little
I went through it myself.
emasculating. Just gonna say that. All right, number one. I saw this picture and I was like, whoa, okay, take a look. Now, this was on the cover of Bloomberg Business. This is a Photoshop picture, obviously, of Obama, and it's what they think he could look like at the end of his 4 terms. You know, presidents age a lot in office because there's so much stress and things going on. What do you think about that, though?
I don't think he'll look exactly like that. I think he'll come pretty close. Only because, and we're not trying to get too political, but like, he's got a lot expected of him this term, I think, more so than.
You think so? You think the second term is more than this?
Yeah, I just think he's got a lot that he needs, a lot of expectation. Like, people are like, okay, we hired you this time, let's see what you got. So
I think the first term was much harder. I don't know.
Well, I think the first term it was like there's a lot of cleaning up to do, and he did, and now it's like, well, a lot of people are saying he didn't do as much as he could have done or should have done, and so now he has to prove himself and sort of track back 4 years and get 8 years worth of work done in 4 years. So
I think that's he looks way too old.
I don't think he's going to look like that because this is like him in his 70s.
I think, yeah, it looks exactly. Well, I was talking with Francis Weller, and I said he looks 90 years old in this picture.
Right.
I think his hair will be gray. I think his, I think you'll start to see maybe some of the wrinkles and stuff, but I don't think he's going to look that old. No. That's way too old.
He's a good-looking guy. He's not gonna age gracefully.
Now, for those that want to, show bipartisan, that we've got both sides here. Take a look at the other picture here of Mitt Romney, because Bloomberg Business did a cover of Mitt Romney as well, just in case he won the election. They had one prepared for what he would look like.
I don't think this is accurate either.
I don't either. It's way too exaggerated.
Too old, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is saying. I
mean, 4 years. It's not like 20 years. I mean, that's what it looks like.
I think they're trying to, it's a statement they're trying to make that the next 4 years are going to be so
very
stressful for these men that it's going to age them like 20 years. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and the Romney one, in my opinion, looks worse than the Obama one.
Yeah.
He almost looks like Jim Carrey.
He does kind of look like, it's like the Benjamin Buttons. What's the, it looks like Benjamin Buttons in there from the beginning. Brad Pitt, yeah, from Benjamin Buttons. Well, see, not too political on our election wrap-up. No, it's pretty good stuff. Yeah. All right, well, that's all the time we have for 6 Things this week. I want to thank Jim Van Dillen and Sanah Sayani for joining me here. Join us next week when we talk about 6 more things that you may have missed.